What's up, guys? Today we're back on paperwork a little bit. I want to talk about our work order sheets. I know you're not going to be able to see them on here. He's probably going to throw them on the screen. They're going to be available for download below. But we have different work orders. We have what we call a standard work order, which would be kind of like a T&M or time and material work order, or a work order for a job where the person says, hey, just get that done. Then we have what we call a budgeted work order. When you do work for property management companies, their owners are going to have a budget, like let's say it's $500. So they tell their property manager, hey, anything that's going to cost less than $500, just take care of it. Don't even bother me with it. So they'll send it to us and say, hey, can you go and change a lock set on a door for less than $500? And we say yes. Well, we put that on a budgeted work order so that we know it has to be under that amount. Then we have, unfortunately, the one nobody wants. We have a warranty work order, which means we did something wrong on a job and we have to go back and fix it. Then we have estimated work orders. And you could do without an estimated work order depending on how you run your company. We used to only have standard work orders and warranty work orders. And then we figured out that having an estimated work order with the estimate number on the sheet helped speed up the billing process as we grew. So we just separated standard and estimated into two separate work orders. And as far as workflow, it really helps in the office for them to keep track of. We have what we call an estimate tracker and a job tracker, and it helps them keep track of what's been billed and what hasn't been billed. Now, on the work order, each one of them is the same below the top line. So you got standard, budgeted, warranty, and estimated. They'll all be linked below. You'll be able to download these, use them. Feel free. I hope that you do. Right here we have the way we do ours. Our guys write what time they get to the job, what time they left the job, the date the work order was created. Right here would be the customer that the job is for, the address, and then the supervisor writes what employee's going to the job. If the job has a lockbox, it'll have the code right here. Then it literally just says task to complete, and that would say like clean gutters, remove all debris in the trash bag. And while my guys are on the job, over here on the right, it'll say, is the job complete? Yes or no. They'll circle yes, and description of work performed. Usually they just write same as above or completed as written so that we know they did exactly what it says. But if they run into a problem, right here's where they write, couldn't clean the gutters because back right gutter was falling off the house or whatever. Or actually, we just had this problem at a gutter cleaning job. Couldn't clean the gutters because the leaves were frozen inside the gutter and they couldn't get them out. So we had to go back the following week. Down at the bottom, we'll have, if it's a occupied rental property, it'll be the tenant's name with the tenant's phone number. And then at the very bottom, it'll say return trip required, yes or no. And that's kind of for the supervisor's own peace of mind. So they know when something's finished and when it's not, just so it doesn't slip through the cracks. Every day, our field technicians report to a supervisor and tell them whether they're finished or whether they're not. And the supervisor reports to the operations manager. But this is like a backup to whether or not the operations manager knows really what's going on. Unfortunately, our business, like every business, everything doesn't go according to plan, which, like I said, the reason we have a warranty work order, because not everything goes perfectly. But also with our work orders, we run into a problem where things will be wrong. The address will be wrong. The zip code will be wrong. The customer won't match the address. The date that it's supposed to be done won't be right. The lockbox code will be missing. The description of the work that needs to be done may not be descriptive enough for our technicians to be able to do it without having to call and ask 1,000 questions. And for that reason, we created a checklist that we're hoping is going to help with all of those things moving forward. But it's just a work order that says checklist, but on here it says, does the address match the customer? That's so basically what this is going to do is once you make this, you're going to check all these 10 items and then you know your work order is good to go. Does the address match the customer? Does the address have city, state, and zip? If the unit is vacant, are there keys or a lockbox code? Does the work order describe the work to be done sufficiently? Are there specialty tools needed for the job? Does the estimated day count seem correct? Are there photos and or inspection reports needed to be included? Did material need to be ordered? Are the materials staged for the job? Does work order need to be remade to include additions, changes? Do we have the correct technician assigned to the job? Now, some of these things may not pertain to the way you run your business, but it's just a quick little way to run through and make sure that the work order is completed correctly. And we'll also have the checklist available for download down below. And just a quick recap on how we do this every day, any job, even back to when I only had like 5 or 6 guys working for me. I did these every day. I used to put them on a clipboard, and then we had a problem with them losing their receipts, and then the papers would get left behind or they'd get all damaged. So we came up with a laminated paper jacket, like a folder, almost like a manila folder, but it's white. And you slide every day, I'll slide this inside of it, and on the outside of it, it'll say who it's going to, where the job is, and what truck they're driving. And then they have that folder with this paper inside of it for them to have for the day. So as they go through their day, they can throw their receipts inside of that folder. And then at the end of the day or the next morning, if they take a truck home, they turn this completed work order with all the receipts from the job and the folder into our work order return bin in our supervisor's office. And then the operations manager gets them. Then we take these and we turn them into an email that gets sent to our office, and then they turn it into QuickBooks, and that's how we bill our jobs. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to send a comment, ask a question, whatever you need done. I'd love to talk about it more if you have questions, but this is more of just a paperwork video so that you guys can have these tools at your disposal for your company as you move forward. And that's another video by Beyond the Estimates. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more.